Gupta here, founder at 10x Coder Kids and an official Guinness record holder for the youngest computer programmer in the world. And today you are gonna be learning your chapter 7 of your book Trackpad of class 6, that is formatting a web page. So without any delay, let's get started. Alright. So it's on your page number 85. We'll start with page number 86, right? So alright. So HTML5 provides various methods to format text in a web page and makes it easy to alter the style of individual elements on a web page. So it's saying that HTML allows you to style elements on a web page. Right now it's not looking so good, right? So this web page that we created in chapter 6, this is not looking so good. Right, so it's not like a website like Google and all, right? We'll need to use cascading style sheets, right? Is a convenient method of styling the elements of a web page. So it's saying we can style with HTML, but cascading style sheets, that is also CSS, is a convenient method for styling the elements of a web page, right? It controls various elements like the color, font, text size, etc. within a single page or the entire website. Alright, so CSS can also be used to change the look of any web page elements such as paragraphs, lists, backgrounds, etc. So first of all, we are gonna see the text properties. Text properties are used to change the appearance of the text. The properties and their values used with the style attribute are given below. Alright, so it's saying here are some text properties on your page number 86 in the table. It's saying to style text, like we have this text over here, right? This can be styled using text properties. So first of all, I'm gonna show you all the properties. I'll use all the properties. So I'm gonna select all the paragraphs in this page. So I'm saying that select all the paragraphs in the HTML page, right? Then we are giving curly braces, and now we can style all the paragraphs. First property is saying we have the color. So when I say the color property, give the colon and give it a value like blue. What will happen? It will change all the colors to blue. And note that semicolon is mandatory. Sorry. What is happening? I think we haven't linked the file. Style.css is linked. Alright. So just a second. I don't know what exactly the issue was. I just kept the same thing and I run this so it changes the color to blue. Alright. So let's move on. Next property, we have the text line. So we are gonna apply this on our p tag only. So text line, if I say center, I can we can give it the four values: left, right, center, and justify. Right. So it basically aligns the text like the align attribute in HTML did, right? So over here, like in if you we have read that the align attribute aligns our text. Similarly, text align in CSS aligns the text. So now I have done it center, so everything is center line. All the p tags are center line because we are changing the styles on p, right? On the p tag we are adding these styles, right? Next we have text indent. So what is text? Sorry about that. All right. So what is text indent? It is to say, like for example, how much gap should you give after the alignment. So if it is left aligned, how much gap should you give from the left? So for example, I say 30, right? But I can't only give 30. I have to say it's pixels because I told you in the previous video that pixels, the screen is made up of pixels, small pixels that are LEDs, right? That basically glow to show you images and everything that you can see on your screen, right? So when I say 10 text index 30 pixels, so it will move the text 30 pixels from where it is to the right, right? So you can see it move the text. If you, I'll show you once again. I'll do 80 pixels, and now let me show you. Okay, it's being saved. Okay, so as you see, the text is moving, right? Pretty cool. So that's called indent. The gap that you give for the start, right? That is called indent. So text indent is basically used to specify the indentation of the first line of the text. So now this is important. If I wrote this paragraph more, though it is gibberish, I could have also copied the lorem ipsum. But if I just continue writing, and now if we see here, all right, as you can see, this part is indented. Let me do it. Let me align this to the left so that you can see it clearly. All right. So now see. Okay, it's saving. Right. Just a second. Oh, what am I doing? I removed the indent. Sorry about that. Okay, now you can see that this first line is indented to the left, right? So it's a bit indented, this space, right, in the first line, but in the second line there isn't. So right, indentation, the text indent property specifies the indentation of the first line of the text. Pretty cool. Next we have text decoration. So now text decoration is used to add an underline, an overline, or a strike through, right? So we can say text decoration, and for example I want to underline this, so I'm gonna say underline, right? So it's basically there to give special effects like underlines, overlines, or strike through. Alright, to make your, if you're writing a blog or an article on HTML and want to create a web page which will contain your article, right? So you can use these text decoration properties to add these text effects, right? And then finally text transform. Now text transform. So if I say it capitalize, for example, then what will it do? Alright, so it has basically it has set every word's first letter to capital, right? It has capitalized the first letter of every word, right? If I say uppercase, right? Just a second. So it has changed all the text and put it in uppercase, right? Pretty cool. Now you won't find the use of this. You would say, why, if I want to do that, why I don't write the article directly in uppercase? Why should you use the text transform? The thing is that this text transform is just a style, right? So whenever you will access this text, right? So whenever you want to access this text, say in your script.js, this is just for your extra, right? So you can skip the video. So just skip this part, but you can also hear it. It's suggested if you hear this. So if I just access this p element and I try to get all of its text. So for example, I want to say, I'll just run this command. You won't understand it, but I'll run this command so to show you. So this, what will it do? It will just access. Just a second. I'll just give this an ID. Just ignore this part. I want to show you. So if I say bring the element, the p tag in which we have the text, and get whatever text it had, right? Get whatever text it had, right? And just show this, right? This will not show on your screen, or let's show it on the screen only. Let's say document dot write, right? So essentially what this statement is doing, it is showing whatever is there in this p tag, right? Whatever is there in this p tag, this statement will show. So what do you expect? Will it bring all the letters in uppercase, or will all of it will be in lowercase? Just wait. Oh yeah, I've not linked the script.js. I'm so stupid. Script source is equals to script.js. Sorry about that. And now what do you expect? Let's see. Oh, it has brought everything in lowercase. Why? Because it is this text is just a format by CSS, right? It is showing the text like this, but it's actually all in lowercase. So when we access the text, we got it all in lowercase instead of all in uppercase, right? I hope this is clear. That's why text transform property can sometimes be very useful. All right. So now I've shown you all the properties. It is just creating an HTML web page with all the properties, right? So let's see. So the time it has used the Times New Roman the font family. I showed you the font family property, but I can also show it here, right? You should change the font. So over here, if I say Times New Roman. Just a second. Alright. Alright. So it changed the text type to Times New Roman. Alright. And it also used the text transform property that we used to uppercase the text. Right. And then they have used the color property that I showed you. And then they have the font family once again. And then they have the text transform. Pretty good. So they are using the text properties to create a web page. Now let's move to the background properties on your page number 87. So background properties are used to make changes in the background of a web page. The various background properties and their values are given in the table. So if I go to Google, you see this black background. How is there a black background? Using the background properties, we can change the background of a web page, right? So first of all, let's say background color, and let's change the background color of our h1. So we have already given the background color property, right? This is there to change the background color of a text or a web page or some element, right? So then we have background image. This is pretty interesting. I've already loaded an image that is my Guinness certificate. So you can see it here also. Alright. And basically background image, instead of unlike background color in which we can only give the colors, we can also give an image as a background. So if I say background image and then I'll say URL. URL basically saying give the path of the image, right? It wants the path of the image, right? So I would say URL and I'll say dot slash because it is in the current directory. Our image is in the current directory and image dot jpeg. So this will essentially change the background to my Guinness certificate. So if I run this, ooh, this is interesting. What is happening? Why can we see 4 Guinness certificate but this much only? What if my H1 had a lot of text? Let's see. So my H1 has a lot of text now, and wow, we can see the Guinness certificates a bit more. Let's just copy a chunk of text and then let's paste it here. Now what do we expect? Ooh, we are seeing the full Guinness certificates and we are seeing so many Guinness certificates. But why is this happening? Why are we seeing multiple Guinness certificates and why are they increasing? Why are they increasing in size and all? Why can we see much more of Guinness certificate when we added more text in the H1? This is because that background image basically covers, right? Like it maintains the aspect ratio of your so it's difficult to explain. Let's see. Specifies the image to be used in the background of a web page. This is not the correct definition. It is basically used to add the background but without special more properties or special properties of the background. The images would repeat right? The images would repeat itself and cut themselves, so that the images would only cover the part the tag is covering, right? So this is for your information. You can if you write the definition of the book, that is pretty cool. You'll get full marks. Then background repeat. Now if you what if you wanted this to repeat, or you wanted to only repeat in the x direction, meaning like this horizontally? What if you wanted to repeat only vertically? And what if you don't want it to repeat? So what you'll say background repeat, and you say no repeat, I don't want it to repeat. And what will happen? Oh, let's just reload. I'm getting only one certificate. That is pretty cool. And what if I say repeat y? It is only going to repeat it vertically, right? Pretty cool. So this is the background repeat property, and these three properties are there only in your book. Now let's move on to page number 88, right, where the font properties are. We have already seen the font family property. Let's see it once again. If we want to change the font family of something, we can say font family, and then we can say Arial, Helvetica, Sans Serif, and this will change the font family of our p tags. So cool. Now what if I wanted to increase the size of our p tags? What will I say? Font size is equal to whatever pixels I want. For example, 30 pixels. Ooh, it's bigger, right? And then we have font style. What if I want to italicize the text? So font style and italic. And what will happen? The text will italicize. So cool, right? Now they are showing the HTML page using this, but we have already tested all these properties. And don't worry, if they give you to write the code, don't freak out. What you will have to do, think logically. If they say write the code, if they say write on paper, write the code to to style, using the font properties to style a paragraph. What you will do, you will give the standard HTML layout. I will write that out for you. The standard HTML layout, that will be your, I'm commenting it here. All right, so you will give your standard HTML layout. So in which you will have first the doc type HTML, then you will give your HTML tag. All right, in this you will have your head tag and your body tag. This is your standard HTML layout. In the body tag, if it says, for example, style the paragraph tag with all the font styles, you will say the paragraph tag, right? And you will only and only write a paragraph in this, right? And over here in the head, because it's saying style it, you can give any types of style: internal CSS, external CSS, any types of styles you can give, right? Just if it says using CSS, you can give external or internal. I would suggest you give internal CSS when writing down on paper, and if it is your practical assessment, give external CSS, right? So I'll show you both the ways. First, the internal CSS. I showed this in the last video also, but I'm showing it here also. Style, right? You'll give the style tag, right? Then select the paragraph in the CSS, give the brackets, and then use the font properties that you learned. Say font family, Arial, right? Then say font size 20 pixel, and then font style, italic. This much you will have to do in in internal CSS. But when using external CSS, we'll have to remember this link tag. Give the link tag, say href and style.css rel style sheet. If you forget this type text CSS, it's alright. Just you have to remember the rel style sheet, and then just whatever code I've written here, just add in the CSS sheet, right? When your practical exam is going on. Alright, pretty cool. Now using CSS to control multiple pages, right? So on your page number 89, we are on using CSS to control multiple pages. Every web page on a website can be linked to a single style sheet. Hence, any change made to style sheet formatting affects every HTML document linked to the sheet. For example, I have 10 HTML documents, right? And they are all linked to one style sheet. And when I change the paragraph, in all the 10 HTML sheets, whatever paragraphs there are, all will get changed because of one style. This is how you can use CSS to control multiple pages. We can use the style sheet as a template by storing all the information in one place and easily change the appearance of a site in one go, thus saving a lot of time in case your site has numerous pages, right? So just telling us that when you have multiple pages, and then what you can do, you can directly change all the pages style by one CSS sheet, right? And I've told you how to write the code. Practice on text editors, and I would suggest you Replit. But if you don't want to do it on Replit, you can also use Notepad, but that may be inconvenient. But best suggested for your written exams, you should practice on Notepad. All right, pretty good. Now on your page number 91, we are on margin properties. Before that, I would say, all right, okay, I thought that was a quiz. It's I know. So we are on page number 91, margin properties, right? Pretty cool. So margin is the space that appears around an element, right? So for example, around if I say P and I say give a margin of 50 pixels, right? So every value will be in pixels in CSS, right? Every value will be in pixels. So if I say margin 50 pixels, oh, this is looking a bit different. You can see a lot of gap here, a lot of gap here, a lot of gap on the sides, and a lot of gap on the top. Whereas when I didn't give margin 50 pixels, I just commented it. There was no gap. There was just an indentation that we gave that is coming because of the text indent property. Otherwise, there are not as many gaps, right? So this is the margin property. Margin is the space that appears around an element. The margin property is used to set margins for any web page element. The four sides used with the margin property are left, right, top, and bottom. Alright? So we can say I want margin on the top only, so I can say margin top. If I want it on the left only, I'll say margin left. If I want it on the right only, I'll say margin right. And if I want it down, I'll say margin down. Alright? So the value of the size can be measured in pixels, right, as we did in pixels, and then it is giving us an example. So it is only teaching us four properties: margin, margin left, margin right, margin top, margin bottom. And if you want to ignore the margin property, you can. Only remember margin left, margin right, margin top, margin bottom. Alright, and you are good to go. And with that, we are completing this chapter, the chapter 7 of your book Trackpad Class 6. I hope you guys like the video. Please comment down below. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep watching my videos.